कैमरा को ठीक कर देंगे थोड़ा, मतलब श्रेयस जी को और थोड़ा दिखा दें सेंटर। हाँ बढ़िया है।
Namaste everyone. Welcome to this information session for the internship program. And as is the tradition with the IKS division, we'll start with a Swastivachana.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Kanikradajjanusham prabhruvana iyarati vacha marite vanavam. Sumangalascha shakune bhavasimat vakachidapi bhavishvya vidata. आतवाश्येन उद्वधीन् मासु पर्णो मातवा विदधिषु माद्वीरो अस्ता विद्र्यामनुप्रतिशङ्कनिक्रदत्सु मङ्गलो भद्रवादी वदेहा अवक्रन्ददक्षिणतो गृहाणां सुमङ्गलो भद्रवादी शकुन्ते मानस्तेन ईशतमाघशं सोबृहद्वदेम विदधे सुवीराः सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति।
Warm welcome to all of you who are here, and this is the second edition of the internship program that is going to be run by the IKS division. We are very excited about it after a hugely successful first turn of internships. With that, yes. So we have named this program, IKS internship program, as Bharatiya Jnana Samvahini, something that kind of has the spirit of what this internship is about, where we are trying to essentially have this jnana, Bharatiya jnana, being transferred from the mentor to the interns, and essentially there is a concept of vaha, essentially flow of jnana pravaha in this word, samvahini. And this is essentially an information session for the mentors. And this year we have decided to separate the application program process into two steps, one for specifically for mentors and then one for the interns. So this information session is specifically for the mentors, potential mentors who will be mentoring the interns who will be coming into this Bharatiya Jnana Samvahini 1. Next slide, please. So the division's vision, IKS division's vision, is to promote interdisciplinary research on all aspects of Indian knowledge systems and to preserve and disseminate Indian knowledge systems for further research and societal applications. So it is with that broad vision that we work, and we work with that vision to not only promote interdisciplinary research, but also to enhance the capacity to do the research. And we see this internship program as something that nurtures the young scholars to enable them to do interdisciplinary research in this stage or at a later stage. Next slide, please. And essentially, what do we mean by Indian knowledge systems? Essentially, it is the rich heritage and knowledge created and acquired by Indians over several millennia in the Indian subcontinent, and it exists in systematized knowledge in manuscripts, oral traditions, or in traditional practices, oral folk songs, stories, arts, handicrafts, and traditional skills that are out there. So it is essentially a very broad area of knowledge systems and broad and amorphous area. So it is very hard to put it down, but essentially you can recognize it instantly when we talk about Indian knowledge systems based on the repositories and systematized knowledge. Next slide, please. And so we'll get into this internship program, Bharatiya Jnana Samvahini. Next slide. So the idea of this internship program is to encourage and enthuse youth to take up a deeper study of different topics in the Indian knowledge systems. And they could be a tribal art form in Northeast, it could be Siddha medicine in Tamil Nadu, or it could be a Buddhist paintings in Ladakh, or it could be a Bharatanatyam from Tamil Nadu, Kuchipudi from Andhra, or Malkham from Ujjain, or you can basically think of or forts of Maharashtra, or you can think of anything that has embodied knowledge of Indian knowledge systems, that is a valid topic for this internship. And the focus is basically to create opportunities for students to explore these things and to contribute and be involved in the active research during the summer breaks or essentially any time during the year, but now primarily focusing on towards the end of the summer break. Next slide, please. So who is eligible for this internship? Any student studying in traditional or regular academic institutions. Student must be between 18 and 30 years of age. And the funding is that we'll be funding them with a stipend of 10,000 rupees per month for 2 months and 5,000 rupees for travel and other miscellaneous expenses. And these are all as per the existing AS18 norms. And then these are all some of the thematic areas that are going to be there. Don't worry if you can't read all of them. These will be shared with you in a PDF document. So next slide, please. There are about 20 different areas which you can see are basically encompassing all the areas of Indian knowledge systems that we discussed earlier. And if we are missing something, please do let us know. We'll be more than happy to include them here. Next slide, please. So the schedule for this internship program is that we are announcing it today, June 14th, and we basically the mentor applications will be due by June 25th, and we'll be selecting the mentor application based on the mentor projects that mentors apply. We'll be selecting the projects, and then the mentors will be announced on 27th of June, and then we'll open the internship applications on the same day, and we'll be closing the internship applications by the interns by July 8th, and the selected interns will be announced on 13th, and internship will start on July 14th, and it will continue till September 15th when the final report is due. In between, a month later, in August 15th, there is a progress report that is due. So these are essentially the timelines. It is unlikely that any of these timelines will be changed. So this is essentially what the schedule is going to look like. Next one, please. So what are the expectations from the mentors? We request you and hope that you will be able to guide the interns with your exemplary scholarship, but also evoke an interest in the students in the IKS area that you are working. And also help interns revise a work plan so that they can have a concrete objectives, timelines, and deliverables, and help them get those things done. And then provide them reading materials and resources so that they can learn about this area that they're going to work on. Interact with them on a daily basis, at least an hour, hour and a half, or as needed, to help and advise them about the research project. Because these students are probably this is their first experience, first ever experience doing a research project or doing an internship this way. So, and that too in an area that not many of them are not familiar with. So we request you to help them out by providing your help and advice. And then also advise them on the final and progress reports and also the popular articles. So the students are required to deliver at least 3 things during the internship. One is a progress report, second is a final report at the end of the internship, and then third one is we request them to write a article, popular article, so that it can be disseminated among basically using the social media networks and all that. And also check the progress and final reports and articles that they write for factual accuracy and presentation before submission, because it is not possible for us to check each report and every line of the reports for factual accuracy. So we depend on you for your expertise for their factual accuracies. And then also at the end of every month, we request you to certify that the intern is working with you so that we can release the fellowship amounts to the intern. So these are essentially some of the expectations from you. And next slide, please. So this year, as I was mentioning, we have divided the internship process, application process, into 2 steps. The first step is about the mentors, where the mentors submit a project that they are interested to work on. And essentially it will be a IKS related project. Here we are essentially defining it as systematized knowledge that is created by Indians in the Indian subcontinent over the millennia and has been transmitted through oral traditions, manuscripts, texts, and traditional practices. So this is what we are defining as IKS for this purpose. And then we have to remember that IKS exists in all Bharatiya Bhashas. It is not limited to Sanskrit, it is not limited to Hindi, it is not limited to any language, it exists in every language. And so this will come in every form. And the projects must have significant input of the traditional knowledge. What does significant here mean? It means it must involve study of a primary or secondary source of IKS related literature. Let's say somebody is studying mathematics, a project on mathematics, then it should involve some primary text like maybe Lilavati, Aryabhatiya or something, or some bhashyas of that, so that is, or a translation of Lilavati into some basically some bhasha, some other bhasha, and then study of that. It cannot be something else. It has to involve that part. And then a project that is solely based on modern knowledge systems and modern scientific methods and analysis, they do not qualify as IKS project. So let's say if I'm wanting to monitor the pollution in a river, so that does not qualify as an IKS project. That is a good project for some other study, but is not a good IKS project. But having said that, use of modern scientific analysis and tools to study the IKS literature is highly encouraged. In fact, we, as you must have noticed, in the vision of the IKS, we encourage interdisciplinary research. So we would like you to think about and explore and encourage you to bring in the modern scientific tools and analyses into to study the IKS literature, and then bring basically a confluence of the traditional knowledge with the modern tools that we have to conduct the research and further discipline. So these are essentially the characteristics of a good project that you can think of. And these could be high risk, high reward projects, which you always wanted to do this IKS project, but you did not have manpower to do it. So we are willing to provide you very good interns who are dedicated to do this, and so that you can explore this area. Next slide, please. So again, to explore on that, discuss a little bit on what is a good IKS project and what is not an IKS project. For example, if I want to study some bridges and ships in a locality and take some pictures of them, that is not an IKS project. However, if I want to study what is the mortar composition that was used in older bridges or in forts or in temples or any different architectures that are out there, so if I want to study what is that mortar made of, how did it last so long that these buildings have been standing for 400, 500 years, that is a good IKS project. And trying to say that, okay, I will monitor plastic pollution in a river is not an IKS project. It's a good water quality project, but not a IKS project. But then on the other hand, documenting, evaluating different water treatment methods that are used by different communities. Let's say some community in Northeast that is using stored rainwater throughout the year, and they have developed some treatment methods. Trying to document that, evaluate it is a good IKS project. And trying to study the economic theories of Adam Smith or modern monetary theories, that is not IKS. However, studying the relevance and applicability of Chanakya's Arthashastra and how is it relevant for solving current societal problems is a good IKS project. Simply looking at ships in a port is not an IKS project, but then studying the port construction in Dholavira or Lothal and trying to estimate how many ships could have been there, what was the capacity of those ships based on the archaeological evidence is a good IKS project. And then trying to study the influence of Sanskrit education on the cognitive abilities of the students who receive the Sanskrit education is a good IKS project. But then trying to visit schools to see how is Sanskrit education imparted is not an IKS project. And trying to identify the contextual and etymological meaning of words, let's say of like dharma, nyaya, papa, punya in a Purana, you can for in the current societal context is a good IKS project. But simply enumerating the number of times dharma, nyaya, and papa, punya, these words occur in a Purana is not a good IKS project. So these are the different aspects of what is a good IKS project and what is not a good IKS project. Because this time we are basically going to be much more discriminatory in terms of and very selective as to what kind of projects will be done by the internship because of the huge response that we have been receiving. So therefore, it is important to make sure that your project description that you're going to write will align with the kind of vision that we have for the internship. Please. Next slide, please. So essentially, this project guidelines, we request you to write about 500 words of that. That should have a little bit of a background as to why this project should be done. Objectives, describe what the intern should be doing. It should be very focused. Maybe 2 to 3 objectives are reasonable because it's only a 2-month project. And how will the project, I mean, what is how of the project, how will it be executed is essentially important there in the description of the project. And it should also have very specific outputs. What are the outputs? And 2 to 3 outputs are expected. But the thing is, the output should be very concrete. It cannot be ambiguous. Similarly, the objectives must also be very, very clear and specific, so that the interns, as I said, most of them are coming here for the first time to do an internship. So they would like to see some specificity so that it makes their path very clear. So that is the reason why we are insisting that the objectives and the outputs must be very, very clear so that they know what they need to deliver in the 2 months. And the deadline for the submission of this mentor application, this thing, is 25th of June, and we'll be sending out a Google spreadsheet form to be filled out, and it can be filled in any Bharatiya Bhasha. And one change that we have made since the first edition of the internship is that the second edition of the internship, Bharatiya Jnana Samvahini Edition 1, will be conducted only in Bharatiya Bhashas. So all the Bharatiya Bhashas that are there in the 8th schedule of the Constitution will be included, and they will be accepted. However, the abstract and the extended abstracts must also be written in English so that we can put them on the web for wider dissemination. But the main report and the main basically the whole work and the progress reports, everything should be done in Bharatiya Bhasha. Therefore, there is an additional requirement this year that in this round that the mentor and intern should know at least one common Bharatiya Bhasha that they can converse in so that they can write the reports in. The idea behind this came from some of our actually collaborators and interns and mentors, essentially, who pointed out that Bharatiya Jnana Parampara exists in Bharatiya Bhashas. So therefore, we said, let us do that. And so all the things, essentially, whatever the forms that you are going to fill, what are the communications that you are going to do with the IKS division, can be in any of the Bharatiya Bhashas. So next slide, please. And what do we expect from the interns? We'll be having a separate session for the interns, but essentially we are expecting that they will work on some project that you'll be giving them, whatever activities or workshops that you'll be suggesting with the experts. I mean, you are the expert there, and please ignore the deadlines on the other this thing there. Essentially, they will be planning with you, meeting with you on a daily basis, submit a progress report, submit a final report, and also submit a popular article that we expect them to share on social media or blog or newspaper about the research area. Next slide, please. With that, I'm very glad to introduce part of our team here. And IKS team has, as you might have seen, has grown since we met last time for the internship programs. Now we have basically more members as coordinators. Can we go back, please? So we have Dr. Venkateshwar Pai, who will be looking at the internship programs, and our Anuradha ji will be the one who will be looking at all the outreach activities. So any cool thing that you have, please send to her. If you want to reach out, please send any information to her. And if you have any questions about any internships, you can please contact Dr. Venkateshwar Pai ji. And we also have a dedicated coordinator for the school education, higher education, and IKS centers. And I'm very glad to introduce Dr. Somnath Danai, who is our school education, who looks after our school education. And then, of course, we have Anurag and Shreyas ji are basically backbones of this division. So, and you can always contact us at coiks@aict-india.org. Please expect an email from us in a day with the Google form and PDF document that will be describing all the guidelines in much more detail as to how you can submit your mentor documentation, mentor project details. With that, thank you so much. Are there any observations? Okay. With that, thank you so much for considering our request. And with this, we look forward for a huge participation from all of you. And with that, I would just take leave and namaste. Dhanyavadaha. We'll end with a Shanti Mantra.
संसमित्युवसे वृषन्यग्ने विश्वान्यर्या बृहस्पते समिध्यसे सनो वसून्याभरा संगच्छध्वं सम्पदध्वं सम्भोमनांसि जानताम् देवा भागं यथा पूरवे सञ्जानाना उपासते समानो मन्त्रः समीतिः समानी समानं मनः सह चित्तमेषाम् समानं मन्त्रमभिमन्त्रयेव समानेन वो हविषा जुहोमि समाने वाकुति समाना हृदयानि वः समानमस्तु वो मनो यथा वस्तु सहसति। ओम शांति शांति शांति।